Alright, and now on to the application part. We're going to be writing real life functions, so basically what you've been doing, but now it's in a real life situation. But first, before we get to that, just like you replaced y equals with f of x equals, we will be replacing a n with f of n. Same thing. Okay, so that's how we're going to write this function when we get to that point. Alright, so let's do number 11. It says online bidding for a purse increases by $5 for each bid after the $60 initial bid. Okay, so then they give us a table over here to the right, and part A says write a function that represents the arithmetic sequence. So this table over here represents an arithmetic sequence. So we don't even need to find the common difference. We already know that it's an arithmetic sequence. And they already created it as a table. So the bid amount, remember x is always on top, y is always on bottom, so the bid amount therefore is the y. And y is the a of n. Now the top part of a table, like we said, is always x, and so x in this case is n, the position number of each number in the sequence. So $60 is the first term in the sequence, so n is 1. 65 is the second term in the sequence, so n is 2, and so on. Okay, and we want to write a function. Well, you've been doing that. Again, what are we going to do with the table in a calculator? Hopefully you said stat edit. So we'll go to stat edit, and then you'll plug in the values from this table. So everything in the n column will go in the first column in stat edit. Everything in the an column will go in the second column in stat edit. And once we get our columns filled out and we have the table all put in the calculator, then again, like you guys have been doing, we go to stat, calc, for, and then calculate. And once we do that, you're going to get a screen that looks like this. It says y equals ax plus b. And then it says that a equals 5 and b equals 55. So pause this for a second and try and see if you can write the function in terms of an. Here's what you should have gotten. You should have gotten that y is equal to 5x plus 55. Then, once we wrote it as an and in terms of n, then we would have gotten that an equals 5n plus 55. Now we're almost done, however, they wanted us to write the function. In other words, we need to write this in function notation. So now what I'm going to do is change this to f of x. But in this case, instead of x, we have n. So this is f of n equals 5n plus 55. And that would be our final answer for part A. Okay, now part B says to graph the function. Well, you guys have been graphing points since who knows how long. You should be able to just take the points out of this table and plot them on the graph. Now notice you need to you're going to have to scale your x and your y axis so that all these points will fit on the graph. Your AN goes all the way up to 75, and there's not 75 grid lines here on this graph. So let's scale it. I'm going to make each grid line worth 10 on the A of N axis. In other words, the y axis. Well, it looks like you can't see it. Let me erase it so you can. Oh, it's not going to erase. This is supposed to be labeled the AN axis. Okay, so I'm going to label each one 10. So that's 10, then 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and 80. Okay, let's look at what the N axis should look like. So if we go back up to our table, N is going by ones. So we can just leave that as going by ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And of course, this is 0. Alright, so let's plot those points now. The first point is going to be 160. So let's go plot that on the graph. I'm going to go over 1 and up 60 and put a point right there. My second point is going to be 265. So let's go plot that. Over 2 and up 65. So you'll have to go halfway between 60 and 70. Our next point is 370. And our point after that is 475. So let's go plot those. Over 3, up 70, and over 4, up 75. Alright, so there is our equation, or our function graphed. Part C says the winning bid is $105. How many bids were there? Okay, remember, when in doubt, create a table. So, here's our table. It's directed a different way than the one that we were given. But remember, the top one, which is always X, is the bid number. In this case, it's N. And N is the bid number. The bottom row is AN, and it represents the bid amount. Alright, and they told us that the winning bid is $105. So $105 is going to go under the bid amount. And they want to know how many bids were there. So we're looking for this value. So we're looking for N. So all we need to do is take our equation or our function that we found earlier, which was f of n equals 5n plus 55, and type that into the y equals screen in your calculator. And once you do that, then we will be able to look in the table, go to second graph and look at the table where the y value, in other words the AN value, is 105. And whatever this number is that goes with 105, that is our answer. Okay, so when I scrolled in the calculator, I found that the number, the n number, or the x value that goes with the 105 and the an, or in other words the y value, was 10. So there were 10 bids when the bid amount was $105.